Are you already done with it?
I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:01. We're starting with our public hearing for the Saldo and zoning ordinance. So if you are here for the main council meeting, it'll immediately follow. Are you having trouble hearing? Okay, sorry. We're starting with the public hearing for two ordinances, and then the council meeting will follow. So I will just explain that the chairman, Brown, was leading the committee that was in charge of this ordinance. It's been many years in coming and a long year of working on it. So I wanted to invite you, Councilman Brown, to share a little bit about what this is, and then we can turn it over to the solicitor.
Thank you, Madam President. So tonight, we are looking to have a public hearing and comments from our residents in regards to our zoning ordinance. As you know, some people know that the zoning ordinance can shape a community.
Without it.
Thank you. Speak up a little bit. Speak up.
How about now?
Yeah, speak into it. If you speak into it, it works.
Okay. So as some of you know, that a zoning ordinance can shape a community, and it's very difficult, especially as decades go on. To give a little bit of a history, our last zoning ordinance was back in 1984. So it's been a little while since we've gotten an updated one, and a lot has changed. With that said, that ordinance has been reshaped and re-amended 25 plus times. So I want to encourage you, as you're giving public comment and as you're hearing public comments online, that this is a living and breathing document. Tonight is not a place where we lay out the ordinance and the expectation is we're locked in and this is what we have. I would encourage you, try not to get tunnel vision, okay? Again, it's a living, breathing document. Things can change. We've worked on this since I've been on for a year. We really pushed hard. I know that for a totality of time, it's been about over 3 years since council has worked on this zoning ordinance. A lot has been discussed. The task force, which was made up of zoning, Mike Gibson and others, have come together on meetings that lasted from 2 hours to 3 hours to 4 hours to hash things out. One of the other things that zoning ordinance also does is it challenges each and every one of us, especially here in the borough. In the borough, for me personally, I'm more of a traditionalist. If it's not broke, why fix it? Then you have other people that have come into the borough. Well, we have different ideas. Let's grow those ideas. Let's do higher density. Let's build more apartments. Things of that nature, which we need to really look at and be open-minded to. So as tonight, as you again comment, just recognize that a lot of things and a lot of topics have been hashed out over the time. It's not perfect, and we look forward to continuing to fix and to, I shouldn't say fix, but to continue to sometimes readjust the zoning ordinance as things come. I don't know if you want me to go down some of the topics we changed or wait till later, but I can just give a quick overview of some of the topics that we've changed since I've been here. One thing is the parking requirement for when you're building an apartment complex or apartment buildings. We were requesting that in the old ordinance, there would be 2 parking spaces required per unit. We have changed that to 1.5. Well, you say, well, how do you get 1.5 spots? Well, that 1.5 really reflects when you hit a certain amount of apartments. So for example, if there's 8 or 10, if it was 10, instead of having 20, you would only have 15 parking spots required. Does that make sense to most folks? Okay, so another issue that tiny homes. Do we want tiny homes in the community? We follow the IBC code, the International Builders Code as well. Right now is 1,000 square foot is what our new zoning ordinance is going to be. Previously, it was 700 square feet. So that will change. There also has been a change in the how high the first floor will be on a commercial building and residential. It was originally 12 feet for the first floor and then 10 feet for the second floor. And it depends on the district that you're in. With that said, we changed those to be a little bit more realistic. The first floor would be 10 feet and the second floor would be up to 8 feet. Again, you can build though per the IBC 7 feet ceilings. So we do continue to follow the IBC as well. We do have special exceptions that we also allow. We've allowed, I believe, is it in-law suites or what we call, how would you call it?
There are accessory uses
Accessory uses.
allowed.
Yep.
There were some long discussions with respect to that, and there are several of them that have been maintained, but
Mhm.
not all of them.
One thing is mobile home parks. One thing that we tackled was mobile home parks. One of the rules is that that the borough really doesn't need to have a mobile home park because the municipalities around us have those in place. So that was a little bit of an interesting topic to discuss as well. So for example, Lower Macungie, if you just read, they are getting, again, either expanding or allowing another mobile home park. The borough just does not have to provide that specifically in the zoning ordinance. But besides that, that's a handful. I can go down a list, but I don't want to take up much more time. With that said, I think, Mr. Solicitor, you want to add anything to this?
Before you do, can I just note for the record that Chad Valiant is not here tonight? I didn't know that. Okay. Maddie, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be brief because that'll allow the public to have comment. I'll simply note that this has been sent to the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission and our own Planning Commission, and additional comments have not been received. All the additional municipalities who are part of the comprehensive plan have also received this, and no additional comments have been received other than grammatical and typographical items. So therefore, I do believe that after this hearing, should there be no additional changes of substance, that this is ready for adoption in both the zoning and saldo portions of this meeting. That being said, I will turn it over to the president, and we should be able to begin public comment.
Apologies for the audio issues. Can you hear okay? A little bit. Okay. So at this time, this will start public comment. If you do have anything to say related to the saldo or the zoning ordinance, you can approach the podium, sign in, and you have 5 minutes.
And Madam President, may I ask that they state their name and address as well?
Hello, I am Marguerite Viola. My home address or the business address?
You can use the business.
Okay, my business is Switchback Pizza right on the road, 525 Jubilee Street. I'm here requesting that we are currently in the BC commercial zone, but this moves us to the neighborhood, and I'm requesting that we get moved to the downtown core. We are currently a microbrewery and a restaurant. We have plans to we make hard cider, and a lot of cideries also have winery permits because it really gets down to your APV. And so a winery permit, becoming a winery is a permitted use in the downtown core. I looked at this map and I didn't zone in enough when I first looked at it, so I actually didn't see the change. You have to really,
Yeah, we're
Really?
working on it right here.
yeah, you have to really zoom to see that our sliver has changed.
Can you show us on the?
So, I think,
You,
I think
don't
Miss
see
Viola,
it.
if you see, you guys can see this, I should, let me share the screen first, so that way the folks.
You can't see it on that one. You have
Yeah,
to.
let me-
Even
Okay,
that
so-
makes it look like we actually are in red. But if you zoom in on the internet with better quality, we're actually this sliver of pink.
this is the one that's,
This is what was sent to the Lehigh Valley.
I can show you on my computer. I can pull it up right now if you want to see. When we called today and I'm not sure, my business partner and husband talked to zoning today this
yeah,
afternoon.
I think she's right. I mean, it's, again, it's a funky layout, right? So she would be, you see where Lehigh Street is, and then it says Jubilee Street,
Yeah.
right? And this is Fifth Street right here. So their building is probably like right here. So
No,
it's a funky, like it's a funky sliver right here.
You're like right at the border.
no, because
Or I'm sorry, not, yeah, we're down here. We're down here.
we're in pink. I know we're in pink.
Can you pull that down a little?
Hmm?
Can you pull that down just?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Is it the sliver above Jubilee right there?
So we go from parking lot, right? We go from parking lot to their building to parking lot all the way down to 6th Street,
Yeah.
right? So this, so where my cursor is right here, is literally, that spot, right? And it like 3 zoning districts come together in that one block. And for what reason, I'm not completely sure. Our zoning officer is online if we would permit him to respond. I see he has his hand up.
Yeah, hi. Hi Shane, everybody. I'm only raised my hand because the map you're showing on sharing on the computer is the original downtown core map. Remember, we extended the downtown core map to incorporate all the way up to 6th Street. So what we're seeing on the screen isn't the correct map that this woman and her husband or business partner were looking at when I talked to them this afternoon.
We may just have the wrong map.
Yeah, we might have the wrong map up. Let's just go to the website.
And perhaps that's the map that I looked at originally because I didn't think it was an issue until we called to just be 100%.
And that deep red is the downtown core. So that's been extended.
Here we go. This is
Here we
this is
go.
the map right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this is 6.
Originally, it was not extended. In the task force meetings this year, it was discussed. And then as Mr. Pepe brings that up, you can see the red now, the dark red goes beyond,
Sorry.
Yeah, I apologize.
but it
I had
goes
the
all the way
wrong-
up
I had the
to,
wrong document.
as you can see, it goes all the way up to Klein's Lane there, I believe.
But
Yeah.
currently we're in the BC zone. And when we bought the building, we were in the BC
Here.
zone. And
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons we purchased the building was the flexibility that it would allow us.
So now it's the downtown core is now extended.
It runs down to where the church was. Right.
Now let's look at her property though, it's just to verify. So also you bring up a good point, Mark. The coding of the core, the labeling of the districts has changed from the old map to the new. Very confusing
She's in pink.
right now, but we're trying to get,
Is it that strip right there?
you know, it went from basically a handful to,
She's right here.
Okay, that's strip right. Yeah.
And so for us to be able to continue to be in have that downtown zoning, it's really important to our business and to our building resale value, and just being nimble. And we've been in town for 10 years. We love being in town. But I was working on the idea of just filing for our winery permit so that we could make higher ABV cider. And then if we are not in that downtown core, that's going to trigger parking and, variances and me having to come in front of council. And it was something I thought we had by use.
And I spoke to you a little prior to the meeting. Yes, you would be grandfathered in for your current usage. That said, should Borough Council wish to address this, it's possible to adopt this tonight and then make a map change later as we as we go through this and notice where people are making proposed changes. We could do one comprehensive change to address that later and then do a unified submission to LVPC and the Planning Commission. Because it is unique.
Yeah, it's a very small sliver and we're the only building there. So I can,
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
thanks.
Thank you, Margaret. So if we want to make, Mr. Solicitor, if we want to make a change, something like that, because in my opinion, just looking at it, my knee-jerk reaction is just make the change.
The
But-
answer is if we change it tonight, it's a substantive change that would require us to re-advertise,
This would,
re-trigger the 45 days, which is what I had said to, is it Mr. Alla? Did I say it? Marguerite? As I said it prior to the meeting, that's really the issue here. If you want to continue to pass this, you can pass it tonight and then make additional changes. I'm sure some of our developers here will notice items as we go along. We could do a singular change in 3 to 4 months once we notice any kinks or issues that we have to work out.
that sounds like a good plan.
So if they don't, if they decide tonight, let's make that change and not adopt it. What's the time frame?
I mean, technically, I believe it to be 30 days, but LVPC has told us that this is a significant change, so they demanded 45 days and then never responded. But regardless, yes, you would be looking at putting this into possibly May or June. If we make the proposed change tonight and simply table this.
And another public meeting then too?
Correct. It triggers all of this again, an entirely new advertising set, new submission set, new public hearing pursuant to the MPC. Yes.
If it is changed at a later date, is all of that triggered or no?
It is, but it would only be for those singular issues as opposed to the entirety of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional public comment related to zoning and saldo, you can approach.
Unsure.
Okay,
None, you can close the hearing.
we can check online if there's any
Yes.
public comment online. Okay, seeing none, we will close public
I
comment
think you
for
have
the,
Motion to
council
adjourn.
comments.
yes,
I think you
for
have
the
council
public
comments.
meeting and turn it over to council. So are there any comments from council?
Motion to adjourn.
Real quick, just a motion to add it, or you might want to add an emotion to include all the exhibits to the public record.
Yeah.
So,
There's
so what the council comments go first? At the end of the council comment period, you will need to entertain a motion for all the exhibits that be entered.
you just entertain a motion.
To correct the advertising.
All right, so are there any comments from council, any questions from council? Yes, Councilman Watt?
I just wanted to thank everyone who's put in all the time, the community volunteers and the borough staff. I think something we all recognize is that the costs in the borough keep going up. But we don't have room under existing zoning to grow our population. So the passing of this well, these two ordinances will be transformative to the businesses in town because they can improve their commercial spaces and reach more potential customers. Particularly at the ends of town, the strip malls, when they're eventually redeveloped, will open up a lot of new opportunities for residences. And I also think this ordinance it's so disconcerting the way you're echoing, I'm sorry. Will improve the protection of South Mountain, which is, I think, a goal that all residents will benefit from.
Thank you. Any other council comments or questions? Okay. We'll close council comments, and now if there is a motion for adjournment. Okay, motion from Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Wait, don't quite adjourn yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Right, go ahead.
Yes. So does that need like official action or just
Yeah.
statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just ask for a motion.
All right. Sorry, this is new to me. We need a motion to officially enter all the exhibits, all the attachments that were.
All the
that were
attachments in the agenda.
in the agenda. Okay.
Make the
Thank you.
motion.
Motion from
Second.
Councilmember DeFreen, second by Councilmember Anders. Any further comment or question on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor say nay. 6 ayes.
Now you
Now you
we
can adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilmember Brown, Councilmember Lavenberg. All right. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
6 ayes. We adjourn at 6:23. We need a moment. It's true. Good. All right. So we'll go directly into our public meeting. We'll call that to order at 6:23. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now for our council meeting, we have personal appeals, part 1. So if you do have a personal appeal related to the topic of our council meeting, you can approach the podium, say your name, your address, and sign in.
So my name is Scott Seibert and the address is 101 North 7th Street. And
Scott, I'm sorry, Scott, what you
Scott Seibert. It's 101 North 7th Street. And
101
my
North
request
7th.
is for the 1-hour parking sign to be put in the 100 block of North 7th Street. Because the kids from the schools have been parking there and there's absolutely zero parking during the day in front of the property. It's between Walnut and Ridge. And what happened is now that all the work is done with the gas lines, the kids have found the street again and there's nowhere to park. So I'm just looking to get 1-hour parking signs and then have resident permits put up so that people can park there. Because between Walnut and Ridge, there's no signs, but between Ridge and the next 3 blocks, there's signs. And on Walnut Street, there's signs. On Macungie Avenue, there's signs, but nothing in front of the 100 block.
We keep adding every year.
Adding it.
Yeah, it just
It's
keeps
hard because
going
it's
out
just going to keep pushing it more in the residential.
until they're
areas.
not gonna walk a mile.
Yeah. And I understand it. And I just figured if I came and asked, put the signs up and they'll find somewhere else to park and the next person will be along.
So we'll discuss that in Public Safety Committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we fixed something over there in an ordinance. We have to check that. It may have been oversight, but I thought we may have already ordained that it may be a lack of just putting up the signs. So we'll check on it.
Okay.
We'll look at it at committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's anyone else for the public appeal, please approach.
If She's questioning.
Hi, my name is Kevin Gaiman. I live at 416 North Third Street. And this is in regards to a property that my wife and I own on South Sixth Street. And I planned, like, I had all this stuff I wanted to share and ask and talk about. But I think I'm just going to keep it real simple. We got a letter in regards to the requirement that I need to change or put new sidewalks and curbs in. And so I wrote Mr. Reed an email because the letter started out saying, you know, that it's the construction season, it's gonna be repaved according to coordinates and stuff. And then it said attached is an inspection report. So I thought, okay, great. Then I'm gonna know what I need to get it done for. And so the notice of inspection just basically says I'm required to replace 20 linear feet of curb and 20 linear feet of sidewalk. And then the next bracket mark was for the ordinance because of the 5-year thing. And I learned about the 5-year thing because we knew that, I mean, we're all driving around in Emmaus and see the deplorable position and the streets are in because of all the gas mains that are being taken care of. And so I'm like, you know what, in our property, they have oil. So I thought, you know, this would be a great time to take advantage of the streets are going to be open. So I called UGI and they said, yeah, good thing you're doing it now because there's a 5-year, you would never be able to do it. And we want to get that in there for our tenant because it's a lot more affordable than oil. So I knew about it. So I thought, okay, but what does that have to do with my sidewalks? So like I said, I wrote Mr. Reed and I didn't hear back. So I just started doing some research and looking at the codes, and I'm finding different pieces of information that says if there's no sidewalk there, if there's a street being repaved or reconstructed, then the borough would, or the zoning would be like, well, I have to put one in. Well, there's already one there. So then I'm looking even further, what's the requirements of a sidewalk that should be replaced? And I met all the criteria. And I'm like, okay, why do I have to change my sidewalks? So then I found some other documents that discuss about what has to be done if I'm making a sidewalk and curbing. So it was very confusing. But then Mr. Reed finally got back to me and explained to me the situation. He said, it's probably not meeting criteria. And he gave me all the criteria. And I met every one but the monolithic. Apparently, our sidewalk, along with my neighbors, are monolithic. And I'm like, but they're great looking. They're solid. And I'm like, okay, so now I want to know, I called a concrete contractor today, never got back to me. I would just like to redo the curb because I know that some of my neighbors have gotten that they only need to do a curbing, but their sidewalks are okay from the borough standpoint. But I never got word about if I can just change my curb. I think the biggest thing is that you gave us 4 months to raise, would have been $6,000.
Yeah, so I actually raised at the borough council today that I felt that we would hear this today. And so Mr. Anders oversees that committee,
Yes.
and I think we have some commentary that might be a little more comforting.
Yes, thank you for bringing this up this evening. We are going to reevaluate. Typically, our time frame is to give residents at least a year's notice. So,
A year's notice?
yes. So this is something we will be discussing this evening as far as the timeline. We were going to review if that project goes forward this year. It may be next year, and to give residents like yourself time to prepare. And if you need to have it done, you'll have time to raise money and be able to do it. Not like you said, 4 months notice. I don't think it was an error on Mr. Reed's part. I do believe he was following the ordinance, but not seeing the actual timeline. I think that we had a lack of communication, and we're going to fix that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and Mr. Reed was very clear on what had to be done. And then he also said, you know, sorry, this is a hardship, and it is. And then I guess the letter also was stating, along with a lot of the ordinances, that if it doesn't get done, you guys are gonna have it done. your contractor's gonna do it and then charge us and then put a municipal lien on my property. And I'm at that point where if I can't pay for it, then you guys are gonna have to put it in. And I talked to a lot of my neighbors and they're all, it's tough, it's tough.
Yeah, and I spoke with one of your neighbors today, and he told me he did get a quote for curbing, and it was just for curbing, and it was upwards of like $6,000. And that's a big number.
It is a big
And only going up. And if and what I said to him was, you can get a better price than we could too. I mean, so that ends up being the other piece of that, because we end up having to pay a state wage to the contractor. So where, they might normally pay their guys $30 an hour, we have to pay them $68 or $75 an hour, right? Like part of their quote. That's just part of how the bid process works. So that $6,000 job probably drives it up to $8,000.
We're required to pay something called prevailing wage.
Right.
So, but we're very aware of that, and to try to come up with that in 4 months is definitely not fair to anybody. The ordinance does state, and that's something that Borough Council would have to change in an ordinance. It does state that the residents are required to maintain the curbs and the sidewalks. And the problem in your neighborhood, as you know, is some of that curb is only 1 inch high, 2 inches high in some of those spots, and broken. So we can't just slap more pavement over top of it and have room. They have to be addressed, unfortunately. That's
right. And I understand that. I mean, I'm in the construction field, so I do understand that. Who's going to be paying for the repaving? Well, at first it was said repaving, but then Mr. Reed's letter said reconstruction, which is totally two different animals.
So some of that is reconstruction in that neighborhood, because if you're aware of how roads work, right? There's a lot of scaling, which means it's not just paving like potholes, right? We're going to have to reconstruct probably underneath a little bit in some of that area. So we will be contracting that work out.
Second Street.
Yeah.
And
Second Street was similar to that.
But
Yeah.
who's paying for the overall reconstruction? You're saying
that's
The borough funds.
Yeah.
Borough funds.
That's
Yeah.
part of that's
Yeah,
part of your
tax
state
dollars,
tax
yeah.
So
dollars.
why doesn't UGI pay for it? Because they're the
So-
ones tearing it up, replacing all
they
the
pay.
gas mains.
They pay.
They
So
may.
that if
There
they-
are
go ahead, Shane.
there are parts that UGI will be required to pay for.
So yeah, and any road that you see UGI has torn like to shreds all over town, they're required to pave that entire lane of road ultimately. So all of that's torn up by UGI, they have to pave that entire lane of road as part of their project.
But that often leads to other portions of it being, well, this is part of our plan, so therefore you go further, and that becomes a borough expense.
Thank you.
And just for your notice, the if you want to get gas during that time period, it is the time to do it.
Yeah, and we are
Right.
doing it. In fact, I have another property on Broad Street. We did both of them. So then I have to get new boilers in both of those properties within a year. Plus now I got to do sidewalks.
Right.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Councilman Dufresne.
I just want to say, sir,
That's loud.
I just want to say, I'm over here. Thank you very much for being very professional and very civilized about your conversation. That's much needed in this world right now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Council.
I don't know how many people are here from South Sixth Street, but some of you heard me tell this story already, but when I bought my house in 92, within 6 months, I got a notice that I had to do curb and sidewalks. So I know what it's like. And what I did was I went to the neighbors and I got 3 or 4 neighbors and we went to the same contractor. We saved hundreds of dollars. So I would recommend, since it's going to be several blocks, somebody coordinate and get 3 or 4 bids from area contractors and see if you can all go in on one contractor that will quote you the best price, because you will save maybe $1,000. I don't know, depending how big the project is. The reason is they're going to be there all day, maybe a couple days, maybe all week, depending on how big the project is for them. And they don't have to, go from job to job. So it saves them money and they can pass the savings on to you. So I would suggest highly that somebody
take the leadership role on that and try to save you guys money.
That's what we did. And in fact, we met on Sunday afternoon talking about that. And we're not opposed, I'm not opposed to going up and down the street and getting everybody on the same page. But I would have much rather have been setting up a neighborhood block party and people were deciding who's going to bring the burgers and the beer.
Yes, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you. Mr. Gayman, thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate you. So I talked to Mr. Reed, I believe this last week regarding South 6th Street from Chestnut all the way up to the borough limit is going to be also reconstructed as well. So I looked at some of these properties when I was on the phone with him discussing this. I don't know, how did it go? We don't have to answer it tonight, but what I'm looking to do is what options do we have as a borough to help our residents with that? One, one is the residents getting together, like Mr. Lavenberg said, getting together. But for the ones that can't afford it, how do we help them? Because we're saying you need to do this without going to that, what I would call DEFCON 5 of leaning a home. I don't want to lean a home. Let's try to get, what I want to try to do is get options before we do that. So how can we do that is one thing I want to explore. I don't have those answers currently, but I know Mr. Reed and I were talking and we're just hashing it out. So hopefully we can hash something out to maybe present to the residents. I don't know.
Yeah. And so we thought about maybe a payment plan, right? For
Yeah,
folks.
like the refuse.
Here's the problem with the payment plan to us though, is if they have a payment plan to us and we do the project, they're still paying that 40% more on that job because we end up having to bid it out. Like it's that crazy government stuff that they're still stuck with. It would be awesome if we could say, hey, they get a private contractor and set up a payment plan with them based on that. But I don't know that
we can't. If we did that, it might look like we were the ones contracting that way, and it would be in violation of the bidding requirements of the Sunshine Act and the MPC. So we have to be cautious. I don't want to see the borough get itself in trouble on that, but I'm sure we can work with them, somebody.
If we get everybody together and make it like one contractor is going to do the whole thing, that's a win-win for everybody.
It is.
So we have guys that are doing our curbing and our sidewalks and our development. I work for Irwin Forest Builders. And so we have those guys. And so they would love to be camped out on that street for months doing that work.
My concern is, okay, Mr. Gayman, you and I are neighbors, right? And we're in the same block. What if I can't afford it though? I just can't. How do I team up with you and the other neighbors? There's some logistics here that is like, how can we help our resident?
Well, I already thought of that too.
Okay, what's your idea?
The ones that are able to afford it, since we're not going to pay $6,000 and I'm going to pay $4,000, then I'm going to take $500 and put it somewhere that we can give it to someone who's in need, like the 90-year-old lady down the street on the corner. She's not going to be able to pay for it. So if enough of us have that same attitude and that same desire, we're helping neighbors for helping neighbors, then that's the way to do it. I'm still ahead of the game. I'm not paying $6,000. So if I pay $3,500, I'm still ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But then we have to get everybody involved in that, and then we plan a block party.
Mr. Brown, I will be taking this to Public Works Committee as well to discuss the timeline. So you have an actual date and things that you can talk about. So like I said, I personally want to push this off to next year for you and your residents so that we can, give you a time frame and that, so you can also have, time to prepare for it instead of right now.
Right now, everything's on hold. The letters.
Not officially.
Yeah, but don't run out and do your sidewalk and curb yet.
I was going to say, yes, we need to discuss it. We do have our
do
meeting
your gas first
later this month. but
We should get a letter stating, hey, folks, we jumped the gun kind of thing and say. hold
we would
on.
get a more definitive timeline for you. Yes.
That'd be awesome.
I don't think the Borough Council is able to comment just yet on that, but
Gotcha.
I think having watched what you saw tonight, there's a very good chance that that might occur.
Okay.
And thank you for bringing
Thank
this
you.
up.
Yep.
Clearly, there's a lot to discuss and that'll be handled in your committee. If there's any additional public comment, you are welcome to approach. Are you here for the presentation?
No.
So we'll get to that in a moment. Yes. Any other public comment? Okay. Any public comment online?
Let me,
Jane, did you ask me to unmute?
if you have a public comment, yes.
No, I do not. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
You're welcome.
No online public comments. We'll close our public comments, our personal appeal part 1. And community minute. Does anyone have a community minute? Okay. Special presentations. We have a special presentation from the Emmaus Rotary Club regarding the summer festival. I'm not.
You have to do it for the recording, for the YouTube video.
So I'm Cindy Horniman.
You have to talk and do it for the recording.
How about that?
That works.
And we have Nellie Kabiru, who's our president-elect. And we just wanted to give you guys an update. This is going to be amazing. We now have a full schedule in line. And we're going to have some good logistics issues because of the amount of people. We are starting at 10 a.m. We have confirmed 1 to 3 SCART Marshall and the Highway Souls will be performing on stage. From 3:30 to 5:30, we have Flirting with the Mob. And premiere from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. we have Craig Thatcher Band. They're all excited. They're all going to be posting, etc. We have confirmed 8 food trucks of all different size, some of the best in the valley that we have gotten. We have confirmed kids activities over around the ball field area that we talked to Shane about before. Including we're talking to some of the community programs like the Da Vinci Center. We have kind of like a relay race and other kids games. We have arts and crafts. We don't have enough yet, but we also have some businesses, including Master Gardeners is interested in presenting and talking to the community as well. So we're very excited. We're still looking for sponsors to be able to help pay for that. And we're advertising that on our website. As of a little while ago, we now have received through Jandal Turkey Farms, who's one of the major sponsors, more of a detailed marketing plan. So we put an initial thing on the Facebook page for the borough. We're now going to have weekly postings and everything else. We're confirming.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
I haven't seen an event form submitted for this. Can you tell us the date?
Oh, May 31st.
Okay, I might have missed that. Thank you.
Shane, I thought we did all that event. I thought it was even on the calendar.
Yeah, we have to do some formal paperwork. I think Jessica sent something to you.
Oh, okay,
to-
because I knew
to
we
get
had
that,
worked
yeah.
all that out. So this is going to be pretty amazing, and we just wanted to keep you up to date. You might not see me for a few weeks. We expect to really start the promotion. The marketing people have suggested not till April, but we have already started posting on some of the crafts and stuff, more so save the dates. We have also started meeting with sign people. Shane said, because we can't put up the street signs anymore because of the laws, but we're going to put some stuff around the triangle and give it out at the markets, etc. The only issue, I called the chief of police because you said you're going to provide police service, and I need to talk to the ambulance corps and, have them around, even like a fire truck or something that people could see. The only little thing, and Shane, we might have to talk, we're going to be taking charge cards. We have the electricity, that all is worked out. we're not sure of the internet capability in the park.
Yeah, so we have internet in the park.
We're gonna do some tests.
We would need to give you access to that internet.
Okay.
And we'd have to run testing.
Okay, in April, Embassy Bank is going to be one of the sponsors, and they're providing us all the charge card machines and all of that type of thing. And they're changing systems, so we're going to be meeting with them in April. And when I get a date, then I'll contact you, because that we, if we can't take the money for the beverages, that's a little bit of a problem. So we're excited. It's going to be an amazing day. And the more people that we talk about, they're already talking about how we can expand for next year. And I said, well, we're going to do this annually, but we got to get the first one down good. Does anybody have any questions or anything else? But we have our act is.
So Cindy, did you say what the money is raised for? Did you mention?
Yes, it's raised for the East Penn Feeding Food Coalition. Currently, the Emmaus Rotary, along with several other organizations, service organizations in the community, have been providing weekly food distribution to children in the East Penn School District. And as of last week, we have distributed over 21,000 bags of food. And what we truly have noticed this school year, we just spent $15,000 and got 8 pallets of food this past week, hopefully to last us through the rest of the year. What we are seeing, particularly in some of the elementary schools, we have seen the need increase. And what we're hearing the most from people is because the increase in cost of housing. That's what we're hearing the majority of needs are. So, we expect to continue that. We work with the school district very, very well, and all of the counselors, and it's going to a good cause. And that's going to be advertised as well. Other questions?
I just have one. Are you having alcohol of any kind?
Yes, that was the whole thing, that we're making our money selling beer and wine and water and A-Treat. We have all the licenses, we have all the liabilities, we've already done that. We are working with Shangy. We wanted to work with local companies. We're working with Shangy beer distributors. We're going to have 5 different types of beer. We have about 40 of our Rotarians have already volunteered, and they'll all get licensed. We do not need a separate training or something else. I talked to the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board, but we are doing individual training and having everybody sign up, and there's going to be somebody from the Liquor Control Board there, because this is the first event. For wine, we have Tolino's Winery. They were on the Triangle, and they're going to provide wine as well. One of our Rotarians is providing water, and Luke Jandal owns A-Treat, and he's providing A-Treat, and that's how we're going to make our money. The bands, we have sponsors for the bands, as well as the sound system, and that should bring people who like to party. So, of course, kids' activities too. Other questions? We'll update you. I'll be emailing Mr. Pepe as soon as things continue to progress, but everything is now in place and we are ready to go. Now we just have to bring thousands of people. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for all you do.
It's needed just because they need to do the forms. I will personally call their president.
Okay.
Have the forms filled out.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your presentation. We will be in touch about the forms for official approval. Thank you. Okay. Next item is the reading of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the February 18th, 2025 council meeting minutes? Motion by Mr. Dufresne. Is there a second? Mr. Labenberg, any comments or discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 6 ayes. All right, there are no decisions on bids. We have communications. The first communication is the Deca Salon is going to have The Emmaus Arts and Vintage event. They're asking for this for April 12th, which is coming up soon. So I think we need action on this tonight, right?
I would recommend, it's a very short timeline. They had a so they did it last year, and it actually was very successful. I was very impressed that the owner of DECA was able to really, Courtney did a very good job of pulling that event together and having a successful event. So they have done it once. It looks like it's a very similar event and request that they're asking for.
And no alcohol will be served. So,
Right.
okay. So this is an event for April 20th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Triangle Park. Is there someone who would like to make a motion to approve?
April 12th, right?
April 12th. Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay. Mr. Anders, seconded by Mr. Brown. Any discussion, questions?
Just a question. Did we get their insurance, Shane?
We did. Yeah, we did last time. She'll provide again.
Okay.
Does it
So yeah, please amend to make contingent on the insurance.
I'll amend the motion to include insurance submitted.
Okay, so motion's been amended to include
You good?
making it contingent on insurance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Original motion and second have been amended. Okay, any additional questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. 6 ayes.
Just an FYI on that one, I'll probably close the street, Shane. From to the point of the triangle at least.
Yeah,
Is that where they had their food trucks last year?
yeah, I think we did the one side last year.
Yeah, but then if you allow traffic to come through, people are standing in the street at the food truck.
I think last year the whole thing was a first time. It looks like it might be a little bigger this year.
Well, I'm gonna close the whole thing down,
Yeah.
both lanes. So they'll have to notify all the businesses that it'll be closed there from north to the point of the triangle.
All right. Okay, thank you. Next item for communication, the Emmaus Veterans Committee Memorial Day Parade. This is an annual event. And we will send it to staff, but they do have a new proposal for their starting point. They're proposing to start in the Main Street public parking lot. So they have a shorter walk to the Veterans Memorial Park.
I can address that for you. I'm John Iyer. I'm Vice President of the Emmaus Veterans Committee. This is Ben Brown. No, I'm just kidding. He's the President of the Emmaus Veterans Committee. And we decided this year to shorten the route because Nate and Roy can't march anymore. No, not really. We decided we're trying to get more veterans involved in it. And a lot of veterans are old, unfortunately, and they can't walk the distance from the high school to the Memorial Triangle. So we thought by shortening it and still providing a truck if they can't walk, that we could get more veterans involved in walking that route. Because the one big thing we keep hearing is it's Memorial Day, but they still want to be recognized as veterans. And we're saying, well, then march with us and be recognized as you march up to the triangle. So that's why the change was made, and we'll see how it works this year. I mean, there's people that said we shouldn't even have a parade, but a lot of us are stubborn. We've lived here all our lives, and there's a parade, so we're having a parade. But I think the shortest that route will be really good for us. And I know I'm going to send the paperwork in shortly with all the information about it. And the only other change was I'm asking that 3rd, 4th, and North Street around the triangle be signs on there, no parking, because it makes it much easier for all the people that are, when we do block them off, but people will park there before they're blocked off. So it makes it easier for people when we have our memorial program to see what's going on. So, is there anything else? I don't think so. The only other thing is I'll be coming to you in another month or so about the dedication we're going to have for when the Memorial Triangle is completed. We're looking at the 18th, which is a week before Memorial Day at 2 p.m. Sunday to dedicate the new park, Veterans Memorial Park. So, and we do have we talked to dignitaries. He talked to to the governor, bunch of senators, representatives, and we have a positive response about them coming. So, and you're all definitely invited, of course, because you're a big part of this too by helping us accomplish this, so that'll be coming to you in another couple of weeks for approval also. So any questions?
Yes, Councilmember Blaber.
Yes. How's it going to work with parking? Because everybody parks at the high school usually and then does the parade and then people find their way back to the high school. If you're lining up in our parking lot, first of all, I know from years past how big the parade is. It's probably longer than that parade. So maybe you could do 2 rows, but that means nobody can park in there. So where are they going to park? Are you going to get area businesses to help out with parking? Maybe
I'm
Bush Paint
going to talk to Bush Paints about you because they won't be open that day.
and the funeral home,
And
maybe.
the funeral home about parking there. And I think it's hard to say, but we may be able to park some people on the Triangle property there, depending on how big it is. It's hard to gauge because we're not going to have the band march in it this year.
Oh, I was just that was my next question.
Yeah,
Are they going to have to march there and then march the parade and then go back to the high school?
No, they're gonna be just come right up to the Memorial Triangle and do their stuff there. They're gonna play it instead of doing just 2 pieces of music. They're gonna do 4 pieces of music. And I talked with the band director, man. He's excited about it because they're working on these new pieces they want to play and stuff.
So why wouldn't they march?
We requested them not to.
Because I think that takes away, but that's only my person.
Okay, yeah. And maybe next year, the first year, we're trying to make it, we're trying to be careful how
I mean, it draws people because you hear it from blocks away. That's the only reason I think it's important, but.
Well, yeah, they hear from blocks away, but the people downtown aren't going to hear it because we're right here. We're going to publicize the change heavily and,
okay.
We'll see how it goes. I know.
Just my input.
I thought about, we thought about.
I'm fine with change, but I just want to make sure everything's covered.
Yep. Yeah, that was covered. I talked with the band director. So. Anything else?
Any other questions? Okay. So I think next step would be to vote to allow the use of the parking lot for this purpose because it will have to be closed off. And also, should we also wrap in the no parking? Should we cover both?
Just let staff take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, so you can wrap in the no parking, or the mayor could put out that mandate. That's up to you. It can come from council or the mayor. So if you're doing the parking lot, you can tie in the no parking piece. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So is there anyone who would like to make a motion to approve the use of the borough parking lot for the Memorial Day parade and closing the streets or making it no parking on the.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Lavenberg, seconded by Councilmember Anders. Any other questions?
Hey,
Comments?
John, I know in other years, if there was rain that used to be at the high school, is that still an option?
No, the high school will not let us in there anymore. Ever since COVID, they really don't want you in.
Okay, I was just wondering.
So, well, if it rains like it did last year, we had that threat of rain. We'll still do our program, at least part of the program.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I was just wondering it.
Yeah. We'll still fire, we'll still do whatever we can in the program. But yeah.
All right, thank you.
Maybe for future years, since the church is right there, we have the fellowship hall downstairs. Maybe that could be a backup for future.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Pastor Paul did the last several invocations, and I think our church would support that. I belong to that church, though.
And it's a large room. We had council meetings there during our shutdown when we were doing this building. So I think that room can hold a couple hundred people.
It's right there too.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I mean, it's a thought. I can talk with
Yeah, the
him.
PFAS meeting was there.
I think he would get excited about that. So keep that in mind for next year.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to have any rain anymore, so we're good.
All right.
Rain and wind, right?
There's a motion on the floor. If there's any additional comments or questions, we can vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. 6 ayes.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you. All right, next is Work to Live LLC Funk 5 Miler event request. This is an annual event, so we can send that to staff. Next,
Question.
yes.
There was always a map attached to this, and I didn't see a map this time. I know it's probably the same course, but
Yeah.
all right, just for future reference, maybe we can attach it.
Well, so that is this the event that's going to end up changing?
No,
No, it's not this one.
no, that's a different race.
Okay.
That's the run-in one, Shane.
Shane, am I supposed to have an officer there?
We'll talk about that, Mayor.
It says, yeah, one at Triangle Park. It says,
I think they hand out alcohol, right? They don't sell it.
No, they give it away.
So it does have the X
Does it
or
typically?
in the
I think
line.
We have.
I think
It's
historically
out.
we've had officers there. Yeah, we've historically had, especially since it's on the Triangle and they're estimating about 350 people.
Yeah.
So I think historically you've had officers there.
Okay, next communication is a Lehigh County letter for the radio purchase contract. This will go to Budget and Finance for the next meeting. We have Paul Yoder volunteer application for the Arts Commission. That'll go to CRD. And that's the end of our communications. Is there any additional communications? We have no borough engineers report, solicitors report.
No additional report. All of my items are already on the agenda. Progress.
There's no unfinished business. We'll go to new business. That'll be ordinance 1252 zoning ordinance. This is a roll call vote. So if there's anyone with a motion or motion by Mr. Labenberg to approve the ordinance 1252, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Brown. This is a roll call vote. Before we vote, is there any comment or discussion? Okay. Roll call vote.
he can't hear.
I know, and this doesn't help. Councilmember Dufresne,
Aye.
Councilmember Brown,
Aye.
Councilwoman Watt,
Aye.
Councilmember Anders,
Aye.
Councilmember Labenberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Baumgartner, aye. 6 ayes. And I feel like you need a round of applause for all of for all of that. It made it to the finish line. All right, next ordinance 1253, subdivision and land development ordinance. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Labenberg. Is there a second? Mr. Dufresne. Any discussion or comment? Okay, this is a roll call vote. Councilmember Watt,
Aye.
Councilmember Anders,
Aye.
Councilmember Labenberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Dufresne,
Aye.
Councilmember Brown,
Aye.
Councilmember Baumgartner, aye. 6 ayes. Unfinished business part 2, there is none. Items not on the agenda. Does anyone have anything? Okay. Mayor's report.
Thank you. I attended the showing of the Freeze Rebellion that was 2 weeks ago by the Historical Society. If you haven't had the opportunity to see that film, please do. It was eye-opening. I never realized that there was a tax revolt in 1799 that took place in our area, but it was interesting to listen to. It was well done, so I suggest trying to see it if possible. Also, I attended the Kindness Project open house last Friday. If you're not familiar with that, they help foster families. They have anything and everything imaginable that a family could want or could need when they're bringing in a foster child. So next time they have that open house, if you want to go and see what they all have, I would suggest doing that as well. Other than that, progress.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Next is the Public Works Committee, Chairman Anders.
Thank you, Madam President. For this evening, there is nothing of official action. Earlier we discussed a little bit of the construction on Sixth Street. I think we will take that to committee, which we do meet March 10th at 4:45, and hopefully bring something to council at the next meeting. With that, I will report progress.
Thank you. Health, sanitation and codes, Chairman Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. One official action is to appoint Manuel Ferris to the Joint Environmental Advisory Committee to a 3-year term expiring March 7th, 2028. Make that in form of motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Watt. Any comments or discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. We have 6 ayes.
Our next meeting is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025 at 4:45 here at, in the borough. That's all I have for my report for tonight.
Thank you. Next, we have Parks and Recreation. Chairman Ballott's not here today. Is there somebody who will be giving the
Sure.
Parks and Rec report?
I can give the notes.
Okay, thank you.
Minutes.
Mr. Anders.
The first item for official action is to appoint Megan Bream to the Recreation and Entertainment Commission to a 3-year term expiring June 7th, 2028.
Okay.
No. And I don't know why she put that on there. That's not what the committee notes said. Remember we talked to Miss Bream about she preferred a 2026 term.
Oh, thank you. I do
Right.
recall that.
So it was February 7th of 2026 was I think that.
Thank you, Shane. Let me amend that motion to the February 2026.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Dufresne. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We have 6 ayes.
The next
I'm
is an-
sorry. You said February? I just looked in the minutes and it says May 1st at
Okay,
26th.
it would have been May 1st, but you just voted on February.
I'm sorry, I didn't scroll to it fast enough.
Yeah, but she definitely so that the conversation at committee with her was she preferred the shorter term, and then if she
Once it
enjoyed it,
continued,
then
she
she
can
would re-up.
If you guys would like to, you could make a motion to rescind the prior motion. In the exact same motion, you could also then correct a date if you so chose to do so.
I'll make a motion to rescind it and make it the correct date of May 1st at 26.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Liebenberg, seconded by Mr. Anders. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Sorry, I didn't catch it fast enough.
No, that's okay.
Appreciate
That's and I didn't see it on the agenda with a different date.
And I know
just-
Megan's online, so congratulations there. The next item is pretty exciting. There's an Eagle Scout. His name is Chase Ice, and he comes to us with a project to install dugouts at the 4th Street front ball field. He will be putting dugouts with a raised roof, new benches, cemented in. He will be raising the funds for the project. And like I said, I would like to put it in the form of a motion to approve the project for South 4th Street Fields.
Motion made by Councilmember Anders. Is there a second? Councilmember Brown? Any questions, comments?
Just one note, this is his Eagle Scout project, if I did not note that. And again, he's got a lot of backing, and he had drawings and all of the project. It was very well done.
For that project, who will oversee it?
Sorry.
So go ahead, Mr. Liebenberg.
No, I didn't know
Okay.
what she said.
Who would oversee it?
So our public works director is going to oversee it. So the timing is impeccable because we're going to incorporate that into the other improvements that we're doing at the South 4th Street fields. So the public works director is going to coordinate with Chase, and we're also going to help him do some pieces of it, right? So we can remove the things that are concreted in with a backhoe in 5 minutes, and we can level it in an hour, right? Because that's part of work that we weren't planning to do the dugouts, but it's part of the overall project that we were doing over there. So we'll help him with some of the things where, like, he and a bunch of teenagers with shovels are going to try to dig out something that's concreted into the ground when we can go over and just scoop it out quickly. So so we'll be coordinating with Mr. Carl to assist him.
Okay, any additional comments or questions? All those who are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 6 ayes.
The next is a resolution 2025-7 to authorize the borough manager to apply for DCNR grant for Borough Lion Park. The grant for this is based off of our previous park study and some work that we need to do for Borough Line to bring it up to date, get some new equipment in, and this grant will help us to achieve those goals and to get another park updated.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mr. Anders. Is there a second? Mr. Dufresne, any comments or questions?
I read the debate in the minutes, and I don't think I can support this. I understand the logic and going forward, but with the huge tax increase, we do have to match funds there, and I know we have 3 years to spend it. But I just feel that maybe we should take a year off before we go forward with any more projects, just to see where we are financially. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't think we should be spending more money until we know where we're at. So.
Any additional comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So
Who
we
said
need
nay?
hands for nays.
That was 7, I think.
Nay.
There was 2 nays.
2 nay.
Yes, just one, Mr. Laban.
Brent and Kate.
That's funny.
Yep, I'm good. I got it.
So what was the vote there?
4 to
4 to
2.
2.
Okay.
We almost
I heard like 12 yeses and like 6 no's.
right.
4-2 in favor.
I was hoping for a tie.
It's close.
All right, our next item for approval is for the borough to host the America 250 celebration event, July 24th, 2026 to July 26th, 2026. I'm going to defer to Shane. There's some very exciting things we'd like to do for this event and to help celebrate America. Shane?
Yeah, so I mean, the details aren't finalized. I think we tried to detail as much as we could in the committee notes, but as most of you should be aware, the America 250 celebration is in 2026. Communities all across America, including in the Lehigh Valley, are doing different things to celebrate. We are asking that the borough participate in this as well. We are looking to do something a little different, not the old school go do something at community park thing, and not just do tours of the historical houses. We'd like to possibly do a street fair or some other things. Again, nothing is finalized. We're first of all, we want to set a date. It takes a solid 6 months to close off streets if we do a downtown street fair. But it's a year of planning with different members of the community. The idea is it's not just a borough government event. The goal is to involve every organization in the borough, our businesses, our athletic groups, our churches, all the different civic organizations, and try to make this a very large celebratory event. And it really starts with, can we do it? And that's really what we're asking you today, is to get approval to do a weekend-long event.
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Lavenberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Dufresne. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We have 6 ayes.
And attached, you will see the meeting notes from our February 20th, 2025 meeting. Our next meeting is Thursday, March 20th, 2025 at 4:45. And with that, I'll report progress. Thank you.
Next is public safety. I'm the chairman of that committee. We did not meet in February. Our next meeting will be March 12th at 9 a.m. I report progress. General administration, Chairman Labenberg.
Thank you. In the meeting minutes, you can see that we had presentation from Shane on workman's comp and injury training, and he gave us some numbers and by department. It's very interesting. If you get a chance, you can look at it. And we're meeting this Wednesday, 9 a.m. via Zoom, and I'll report progress.
Thank you. Next is budget and finance, Chairman Dufresne.
Thank you. We have one item for official vote, Resolution 2025-6, resolved by Borough Council to authorize payment of the March 3rd, 2025 bill list as follows. Bill list $605,807.71. Payroll number 4, $206,194.94. Payroll taxes, $67,706.96, for a total of $879,709.61 on this 3rd of March, 2025. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Dufresne. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Labenberg. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. You have 6 ayes.
So is Chris and
You
then
can see the significant revenue and expenses and the budget report. Our next meeting is this Wednesday, March 5th at 11 a.m. on Zoom or in person. It can be attended. Progress.
Thank you. Next is community relations planning and development, Chairman Watt.
We have not met since our last council meeting, but we will meet tomorrow, Tuesday, March 4th at 4:45 p.m. Progress.
We have no boards and commissions minutes, personal appeals part 2. If anybody has a personal appeal, you can approach the podium. Are there any online? I don't see.
give me just a second.
So if you're online, you'll be asked to unmute. If you do have a personal appeal, you can state your name and you'll have 5 minutes. No. All right, hearing none. Borough managers report.
Okay. What do we have? 2 things. First is so Borough Council adopted an ordinance to remove the kiosk from the parking lot. So now we have a kiosk that we could certainly start forcing you guys to pay front of the building when you come here, or we could try to sell it off, right? And Butts Tickets, which is who we purchased the kiosk from, has informed us that they would pay us $1,500 for the kiosk. I really don't think there's a Facebook marketplace value for something like this, so I think $1,500 is probably as good as we would get. So we would need a motion from you if you're willing to sell it back to them for $1,500.
Is there a motion? No motion.
We'll
Motion.
keep it if you want. I mean,
No, sell it. They'll sell.
Motion from Councilmember Brown. Is there a second? Councilmember Dufresne. Any comments or questions?
Is there any way we can try to at least negotiate a middle ground? I mean,
you saw their email back. If you read the attachment, they were very clear about it. Like, it costs them money to reprogram it, to come get it, we spent $7,900 on it. They probably have to put $1,000 or $2,000 of their time and efforts into it to resell it. So they also know that, like, it's not like selling a used car and you have bidders for something like this. And I can't sell it to the city of Allentown because somebody's going to have to come in and wipe all of our stuff out. And somebody's going to have to come in and reprogram it. You can't just leave our stuff in there. Like remember, it's,
I gotcha. I
it's
just
electronic.
hate to see such a loss on it.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
We have 5 ayes, 1 nay. Mr. Anders.
The second thing is, I need to announce, the resignation of, Vanessa Long and the termination of Jason Eckert in the EMS department. Other than that, unless you have any questions, I will report progress.
There's no president's business. Do we have an executive session? No executive session. So can I have a motion for adjournment? Motion made by Mr. Dufresne. Is there a second? Mr. Ladenburg. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Don't do it, guys. Any nays? Okay. We are adjourned at 7:21.
Sorry, Mike.